Hi there, I'm Diane Chaplin, and this is my first Tuesday of the month live stream where I've kind of decided that I'm going to try to perform as much of the solo cello repertoire as is humanly possible. This month, I'm wishing you a sweet new year with 3 suites for solo cello that all sort of share a common thread, and that is that they all are based or inspired by music from long ago. So the first piece I'm going to play is a suite by a cellist composer named Gdal, Salesski. It's called Suite en style ancien, which means a suite in the olden style. That type of thing was very popular in the earlier part of the 20th century, where people would write music based on some old style without necessarily specifying what that meant. Celesski was born in Kiev in 1888. He got out of there at the end of World War I, went through Norway for a few years and ended up in the US, where he lived and worked in New York and then eventually in LA. He is somewhat renowned for having written a book called Famous Musicians of Jewish Origins, in addition to composing some really interesting pieces. This suite is in 3 movements. It starts with a prelude, then there is a saraband, which is a slow kind of dance, and then a sort of perky minuet. This is the Petite suite by Gdal Salesski. Suite en style ancien by Gdal, Salesski. The next suite I'm going to play is by the British composer Liz Dilnot Johnson. She calls this Reflections, Dances, and Fantasias, a flexible suite for unaccompanied cello. And what she did was to write a large work. It has maybe like 30 little movements in it, divided into 3 parts. And then she says you can pick and choose whatever you want. You can make a suite that's however long you want it to be, and it can contain any of the pieces from any of the sections. I've chosen to do just pieces from part 1, but I've mixed and matched and decided which ones I wanted to do. She also gives you certain instructions to do some amount of improvisatory effects sometimes. This piece was written in 2015, and it draws on music by Hildegard von Bingen, the 12th century mystic and composer. And you can hear a little bit of older sounding music in it. The chant that from Hildegard von Bingen is rather disguised in the middle of the piece. But there are many things that sound kind of like Renaissance dances, a little folk music, and there's a little bit of jazz in it. It's a sort of a wide mix. It's lots of fun, and this will be the only time someone plays it exactly like this, because this is my interpretation of this flexible suite by Liz Dilnot Johnson. was my version of part 1 of Reflections, Dances, and Fantasias, a flexible suite by Liz Dilnot Johnson. And now we come to the final and longest suite on the program. This is the third suite for solo cello by the British composer Benjamin Britten. He wrote this piece in 1971. He passed away in 1976. And it was written for his dear friend, Mstislav Rostropovich, the Russian cellist who got himself out of the Soviet Union in protest of the Soviet Union, but always had in his heart a deep love for his Russian homeland and for the Russian Orthodox traditions. And so in this piece, Britten writes an incredibly personal piece for Rostropovich, where he bases the entire piece on Russian folk songs and a Russian hymn from the Orthodox Church. The folk songs come from a collection that Tchaikovsky wrote down. He wrote some books of folk songs for piano, and Britten took from them 3 or 4 folk songs, plus this Russian Orthodox hymn. You will hear all of that at the very end of the piece. It's kind of like a reverse reveal. So the piece is all based on this material that we don't hear till the very end. And when you hear the folk songs, you'll recognize that they sound sort of familiar from having heard different kinds of versions of them through the piece. You will notice at the very end, when we hear the Russian hymn, that part of the music has this chanting evocation of the priests who sing during services. And similar to kind of plain chant from Gregorian chant, there will often be one note, one single pitch that has multiple rhythms and multiple syllables on it. And this is an imitation of the priests chanting. You will also hear that at the very, very beginning of the piece. It begins and ends with the same note and begins and ends with the same idea, evoking this Russian church aesthetic. I also find that the piece just in general is quite dark, and I find that also a lot of Russian music has this sort of heavy, somber, dark quality to it. So it fits the cello very well, that aesthetic. The movements are as follows. The first movement is called Introduction. Then there's a march, a song, a barcarolle, which means like a boat rocking on waves, and that part sounds a lot like Bach. A dialogue, which is a dialogue between music with the bow and pizzicato music. Fugue. Fantasy, which is this sort of abstract collection of little frittering kind of things. A moto perpetuo, which means fast. And then the final movement, and yes, there are 9 movements, but they're all short, so it's not that long a piece. The final movement is a passacaglia, which was one of Benjamin Britten's favorite forms to write in. A passacaglia is a slow, kind of developing variation. You will hear this sort of bass line through the whole thing as a kind of underpinning of this passacaglia, which then grows in emotion and speed. And then after that, we slide into the simplicity of the folk songs and the Russian hymn at the end. So this is the third suite for cello by Benjamin Britten. And with that third suite by Benjamin Britten, I wish you a sweet new year. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in the first Tuesday in February, which is February 7th, for a concert in honor of Black History Month. See you then. Bye.